I need you to look at the camera, tilt your head to the left, a little bit more. All right. Put both fingers on your cheeks.
I have a lot of fingers.
Yeah. So take your 2 pointer fingers, tilt your head to the left on each.
Let me tell you about this guy.
I'll tell you about this fucker right here.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about our mug.
Oh, I know. We didn't talk about our mug. You're right.
Our jacked up mug.
We should talk about our mug.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we
kind of feel like we were talking about our mug.
I guess we are talking about our mug.
So,
everyone, we have a mug.
So, everybody, so there's been comments about things have changed, and so I want to acknowledge that, yes, we do have a mug now.
We do have a mug
for the set.
I'm wearing a polo.
And I'm wearing a t-shirt, all right? So it's kind of weird. It's like I feel like we're in this alternate universe.
Yeah.
Something weird is happening.
Yeah.
And I still feel short. Sorry. I'm going to try to sit up.
I said we changed things, but I can, all I can think of is the mug.
Mug and the shirt, right?
Right.
And yes, we do know that the mug's kind of jacked up because you can't see it. And, you know, we've made our complaints. Thought about breaking it on camera and just screaming at the people that sent it to us. But, you know, rational minds took over. It was just a sample. It made a quick fix. We'll get a better version.
And you
next.
Can't buy them, so who cares?
If you want one,
you.
Yeah, but, you know, for the right price.
I'll sell them anything for the right price.
Exactly.
I'll give them anything they want. So speaking of boundaries,
there are no boundaries.
There are no boundaries. There are no boundaries for the right price. All right. So I have so I think we originally saw this in an article, but I wanted to pull from the original source.
Oh, that's why you said boundaries.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said I'm trying to
nice segue.
Yeah. When you point it out, it ruins the segue. But all right,
nice segue, dude.
Nice segue, man. All righty then. So we're just gonna segue on over here. So, anyways, there was this article talking about these boundaries and all of that stuff, and about different ages setting different boundaries. And so I wanted to pull from the source.
Okay.
So we're gonna watch this and we're going to let you give your...
It's me _ Lisa P. It's me, Lisa P.
It's me, Lisa P. Isa P. Ice needs a P.
Yeah, don't do it there.
I don't like the way that baby's looking at me.
Eyeballing me.
All right. So we're going to let you react because I never have an opinion.
Oh, okay. I have opinion for everything.
They know.
I have a theory as to why older people don't like boundaries and don't respect them. And I think it comes down to the fact that they believe that they are owed a certain type of relationship based on their age and based on their role in the family. The family hierarchy is very important and has been taught for generations. And within that system, there's no room to question the authority figure. And a boundary feels like a threat to that authority. Again, just a theory. I have a theory.
I think she's a hypocrite.
So, why do you say that?
All right. I say that because, honestly, adults do like boundaries. In fact, they're the ones that introduce boundaries to their offspring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like adults don't like boundaries. I know this millennial is talking about the boomer that raised her, right? And so she's thinking, my parents don't have boundaries, don't know their boundaries with me because I set boundaries for this and they're just not acknowledging them or blah, blah, blah. She didn't acknowledge their boundaries either. All right.
Yeah, I think it's that, I think her point is they don't like boundaries being placed upon them, not them. They're the ones, they don't get to be the ones that are placing the boundaries in this role, in this scenario.
I get that, but I just project. And I kind of feel like the parental units are experiencing the boundary rather than being told what the boundary is. And so there's that conflict, right? I came over for lunch. I didn't invite you. That's boundary. Well, why didn't you tell me that was a boundary? That I wouldn't have come over for lunch. I don't think there's a communication about expectations and what the boundaries are.
Well, I'm sure that there was no communication of expectations prior to the moment. I'm sure that there was a moment, right? And then somebody crossed a boundary that somebody didn't realize that they had until it happened. And then it was like, oh, well, okay, never mind. We're not going to do, I don't want that. I don't like that. They're not too well known.
But it's just think she's acting like a boomer. You know? That's just, when the boomers were her age, they were doing the same thing, right? It's about them and their wants, their needs. You know, you must obey our wants, needs, desires, expecting the world to transform around them. So she's trying to do the same thing with her parents. You can't do this, you can't do that. This is my world. You'll do things in accordance to my world because I'm in control here. Boomers love control, right? That's why they're still in the workforce at 128 years old. And I just see it. She's going to talk about boundaries, and then if her friend Sylvia calls and wants to go out to a movie, she's not going to hesitate to just drop the kid off at grandma's house so she can go and do it.
Well, we don't know her life. We don't know what she does.
That's why I said I project.
Maybe she's not like that at all. You project, that's what you do with your kids and grandma?
Mike, I don't have
this. You're projecting.
No, I just kind of like the attitude, the arrogance of it. She comes across as like, I'm right, and this is a situation, and there's no argument for it.
Yeah, well, I can see how that would be taken that way, especially given the whole, like, this is just a theory, and then kind of ending with saying that again, like, but this is just a theory. It's kind of that sarcastic tone of like, well, this is just my thought, but...
Yeah, the passive-aggressive.
Yeah. I can definitely see where she's coming from, because millennials or boomers, whichever one we're talking about, because they're the same goddamn people at this point. I think we've established that at this point in the podcast. Neither of them like being told what to do.
Right.
And so I can see where she's getting that from, although she probably doesn't like to be told what to do either. So her parent telling her, you have to do it this way, and her saying, you know, you're not allowed to do it that way, or, you know, whatever. Neither of them like being told what to do, so they just get mad at each other.
And what this is
and
really
the baby has
about,
her eyebrows.
What this is really about, I think, is probably the parents coming over to see the baby uninvited. Just coming over on a whim type of thing, not waiting to be invited, not scheduling appointments and that type of thing. And honestly, I do believe in boundaries. She should have boundaries, and parents should honor those boundaries. Parents should have boundaries, and she should be honoring those boundaries. Have a hunch neither one of them are honoring boundaries. I'm sure they're not. Right?
I'm sure. How many times did she come home from school or college or whatever, pop in unannounced to do laundry,
right?
Or, you know, whatever, right? Or popped into the bedroom unannounced when...
Yeah, because you're the parent and you're supposed to, right? You're the parent and you're supposed to. And the parents can actually do, well, you're the kid, you're supposed to. But it doesn't seem to work that way.
Right.
Just because I'm a kid doesn't mean I'm supposed to. And so it's just kind of accepted. And then when you become an adult, then you learn new rules. Right. Have you had those conversations with your mom yet, where you talked about the crap that you got away with when you were a kid?
Kind of, but I'm not the right example to use. I didn't do shit when I was a kid, so I'm not a good example.
Well, has your best friend gotten to the point with his mom?
Yes, I know friends that have talked about in front of their parents, like, all the shit that they did when they were a kid, right?
So, and then the parents have a chance of being mad, or, you know, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That's what my parents do. Is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Except then sometimes my mom know I did things I didn't know she knew. You know?
Right, but moms always know. So, yeah, and that's the interesting part, right, is that a kid is allowed to disrespect their parents' boundaries their entire point growing up. Or not allowed, but they are...
I think a Western kid is allowed to do that.
Well, the other ones do it too. They just get the shit beat out of them for it.
And rightly so.
I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying.
You learn quick not to do that kind of crap.
I don't know. I don't have good examples. I'm not a therapist, but I think it goes both ways. You get kids that don't get beat and end up shitty kids. You get kids that do get beat, and that's all they want to do is beat other people and beat other kids and all that shit, and they end up shitty too.
It's a matter of consistency, explanation, and not going overboard.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between disciplining your child and beating the ever-living shit out of them. Right? And it's not really a fine line. It's a pretty broad line. Right? And there's just certain things, guidelines, and it's way off topic, but, it's... If you're doing it out of anger, that's not the time to be doing it.
That's you.
That's when you go overboard, is when you're doing it out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're explaining why this is happening to the kid, then they get to make this
giving your whole thesis while you're beating the shit out of them with the shoe.
It's I used to, when I was a kid, I would measure, okay, if I do this and get caught, this is going to happen.
Oh yeah, kids push boundaries.
And then I go, it's worth it or is it not worth it?
Right.
And then it's worth it. And then when I get caught, I know what's coming. I accept it and move on with life.
Yeah.
I'm the perfect example of how spanking is okay and can help.
Oh yeah, just a perfect example. The guy without kids. Really preaching to the choir there, aren't you? No, but yeah. So the only part that I don't like of I don't know what context she's coming from. So I can't speak to what the issue is that she's dealing with parents or whatever. The thing that I don't like though is that I was trying to think of a dumb analogy to make this work, but I'm just gonna say what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So she is preaching to all of the people who are in her age group or lower, right? That's most of TikTok. So preaching to your group about something that they all agree with or all feel, and then getting the confidence boost and like going viral and all that stuff about something that these are all the same people that you're talking to dealing with the same issues or you're younger. I don't know if that's the right way to gauge your theory.
Yeah. And also I don't know that it's necessarily appropriate to shame. So boomers aren't going to be watching this. So if her parents are watching this, she probably doesn't say it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, she probably does not. So, yeah, that's probably true. She probably does not say this in front of her parents. And if maybe she did and they were talking about it, then maybe they wouldn't have the same issues.
There's a whole buttload of TikToks of women partner shaming their husbands because their husbands aren't on TikTok. And then the husband's friend's wife sees it and tells her husband, and the husband shows it to the husband, who then sees his wife partner shaming it. And then they get mad and they end up divorced.
I saw like a bunch of memes come out of or they turned into memes, but posts coming out of the whole Barbie movie thing, where basically these like different couples, and I don't know if it was all just women, but whoever, right? Different couples were coming out and just being like, oh, you really need to watch the Barbie movie, and some things need to change in our relationship after you watch it, and if these things don't change like in the Barbie movie, then we're not a thing anymore.
And where's the outrage of how Ken's being treated, right? Nobody cares how Ken's being treated.
And all the comments were basically like, Yep, you need to make some changes. Leave. And that's basically the entire section of the comments. And like when you're taking advice, you know, advice on things that like actually matter from these 20-second clips on TikTok or the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
It just you need to check yourself. These are not the places to be taking hardcore life advice from.
Yeah. Yeah, the change that needs to be made is you go, hey, honey, did you see what happened at the curb? No, well, go take a look at it, you know, and then shut the door and lock.
Yeah, I think that people are taking these things that people put out there as like, they literally do it for views and jokes, and they say the things they say for a reason. And then people take that as like their life advice.
Yeah. Like, these clowns are no different than the clowns that you're hanging out with already.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So what's next?
So for like going back to the boundaries topic where we actually started, do you think that that more I think we've talked about it a little bit before. Do you think that more of the generations that are raising kids now are setting proper boundaries?
Oh, hell no. I think there's a
who could have guessed that response?
I think there's virtually a complete lack of boundaries.
Yeah.
It's just causing all the mental health issues that's going on.
It's interesting that to set boundaries with your parents, but then not set them with your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kid is like 3 years away from having transgender surgery if it says the wrong thing. If it decides it wants to play with the Barbie, that boy is going to suddenly become a girl because there are no boundaries. We're not going to wait until there's like the ability to be lucid.
How much of this podcast are we going to lose right now?
Oh, I think we're going to get a whole bunch more people.
Nope, that's not what I meant. We're going to lose whole episodes if you keep going on these rants. Okay, moving on. Oh, man. One day our Patreon is going to be quite the thing.
So is that something you got to edit out?
Probably. I don't know what the rules are anymore. There aren't any. People just make them up every day.
Exactly.
The problem is that I'm never going to get sponsored by Carnival if our podcast gets canceled. Elon will never see it. This is all going on Twitter from now on.
Just
they won't cancel us there. Yeah, right. At Elon, protect our podcast. Okay, moving forward. Completely different subject. I have been introduced to the world of girl math. Okay. And I thought you should experience it as I have.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you this clip that explains what girl math is. And I think that you'll really resonate with this because I think you'll feel everything that you felt through this entire podcast. Just the pain of watching Gen Z grow up.
Firmly believe because of girl math. Anything under $5 is free. Anything I buy with a gift card is free. If I buy something but then I return it, I've made money. Going to an event or a concert is free because I purchased the tickets so long ago it doesn't even count. I load my Starbucks app in advance, so Starbucks is free. Anything discounted more than 50% is free, and I am losing money by not getting it. If I'm paying something back for dinner and I have money in Venmo, that dinner is free. If I don't buy something, if I don't buy a pair of shorts for $50, I've made $50 and I can then go spend $50 on something else. Okay, this one's a little bit weird, but my husband and I share credit cards and a bank account, but somehow every time that he puts down his card with his name on it, that's free and he paid.
How does a 12-year-old have a husband?
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. There's no way that she's old enough to have a husband. I'm not convinced.
There's some Sharia law crap going on.
Yeah, that husband's going to jail. He's been lied to. So anything that she returns, she's now made money. If she pays for Starbucks on a preloaded card, it's free. Even though she loaded it. Anything her husband buys off their shared bank account is free because he bought it and his name was on it. Anything that she decides not to buy and use that $50 for something else, she's now made $50 extra and can go and use that money anywhere. Anything that she returns, she's made money off of.
So get rid of the joint checking account.
This feels like the perfect time to introduce my big brain moments.
Okay.
This girl, she's got a big brain. She's got it all figured out. How else are you supposed to budget? I have to see a problem with this girl math. In fact, I don't think that that's inclusive enough.
She is ready to run for public office.
Is that what they do up there? That's how they decide our budget?
Yeah, because you know what? They fake math all this crap, right? They keep pushing things into the future. We are at this huge multi-trillion-dollar national debt. And interesting enough, we have just reached an all-time record high of credit card debt as a nation.
Yeah, and one of the things she didn't mention that that prompted all of this is there's another piece of this that where basically it's like anything under $5 or anything under $10 is free. It's automatically free. It doesn't count.
Well, there is some logic to it, because if you go to a store and just take something off the shelf that's, under $10, they're not going to stop you. They're not going to arrest you. It's against the law.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
It's against the law for you to be punished for that. So I don't know. I think, Thanksgiving coming up in a few months, I'm just going to go grab myself a turkey, some stovetop, and walk my ass right on out.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, I like the way she budgets. I think that that's fair.
Drugs are bad, okay? It is. I think she's joking.
You think so?
She's got to be. I don't think very highly of urbanites.
Is that what we're calling them now? Changing their name,
to be, because if she was from Pryor, Oklahoma, she would not be acting like that. If she wasn't from Pryor, Oklahoma, and acting like that, she would have already moved to LA.
Well, I mean, sure, but most people do not take corn as a form of payment, so it's hard to develop that way of thinking. I would agree with you. Probably if she was from Oklahoma, she would not think that way. But I think, unfortunately, there's actually a lot of people who they don't literally think that way. They're like, they don't literally return something and like,
I think.
Right. But that's probably pretty on point to the way some people budget.
I'm sure it is. Back in my day, all right. Our version of this was, we had some complete and utter morons who felt that since they still had checks, they still had money.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's like, no, that's not how it works. You actually have to balance your checkbook so it mirrors what you actually have in the account.
Right.
But what do you mean I have no money? I still have checks.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you use cash and your bank account doesn't see it, then you didn't spend any money, right?
It's free. It's free. It's free.
Right. It's free.
If somebody else is paying for it, it's free. No, somebody's still paying for it. Just not you. But this is even dumber than that concept, because she is paying for it.
Paying for it. Right. And they're sharing an account. They're only sharing an account, by the way, because she's his daughter and she's 12.
Yeah, because it's not husband. She's 12 years old.
I'm not convinced. Not convinced.
I don't know. Man, like, kind of look at the hands. Hands are pretty small.
Don't look. You're going to get in trouble.
She looks 12.
Well, all I know is that tonight I have a new way of balancing my checking account. And there are about to be a lot of things that are free.
All right. As long as you're thinking that way, I'm going to come up with a whole bunch of things that are opposite of that to my benefit.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know how long it's been, but that feels like a podcast to me.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
That's disturbing?
Yeah, I mean...
Are you still caught up in
Yes. Girl math?
Yeah, girl math.
I thought girls were the smart ones.
Well, not at math.
We're gonna have to edit that.
Nope, that one's staying in. I do the editing around here. I get to decide what stays in.
Do you think this is real?
Her doing it that way,
Yeah. Do you think people really
like
do that?
legit for real? Like I said, I don't think they literally think that way, but I do think people do the playing with money a lot. Like I've met a lot of people who do this where it's like, oh, rather than like I was gonna buy these pants, but then I got to the store and I saw them and I was set on buying them, right? But I didn't like them, so I'm not gonna buy them. So then I'll take that money, but it's money that I already allocated in my head for buying something, so now I have to spend it, right?
Well, no, you don't have to, but I get that.
No,
You can I'm a firm believer in reallocating funds.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that I do think that there are a lot of people that like they do that, not necessarily like intentionally calling it girl math and like, oh, this is how I think, but like they do that, but they don't reallocate those funds on like something they need, right? They just reallocate those funds into like something else that they didn't need. Like I didn't need these pants, but I was already set on buying them, so I'm gonna buy this, right?
Yeah, it's just
I think that happens a lot.
it's a dangerous mindset to have. I'm budgeted $580 for tires that only cost me $470.
Right. So now I have $100.
Yeah. So now I have $100. That's free money. I can spend it on something else. It's like,
yeah.
Or you can save it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I don't know. I do think a lot of people do think that way though. Unfortunately, I don't, like I said, I don't think they do all the things, and I don't think they literally think that about everything, but I think that they do that. I mean, people have to do it, right? That's why credit card debt is so high. They look at their credit card and like, oh, that's free money, and then they use it, and then they ran out of their free money,
and then they make the minimum payments, and they never get ahead on the debt, and it's perpetual debt, and they don't understand why they still owe $8,000 on this credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get it. It's
a slippery slope, right? Because there are smart ways to use it. And,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And to make it benefit you, but that's how they get you, because 90% of the people,
they need to teach it in high school.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And God forbid.
If you know anybody who thinks like this, if this is a real thing, let us know in the comments. All right. Because I kind of understand what you're saying, which is still different than this.
Yeah, it is so different.
I believe you. I don't believe her. But if there's people like that, if you know people like her, put that in the comments so I can be even more appalled than I already am.
It's gonna be so awkward when I put myself in the comments.
But there's this guy Brandon.
Oh man. The like $5 thing that I mentioned earlier, I know 100% is a thing though. I can say for certain that
your wife does that.
My wife, me. If you look at something and it's less than $5 or $10,
all right. I'm just gonna have you pick me up a coffee every day. It's basically free.
This is gonna sound. Oh God, I hate talking like this. But there does come a certain point to where you make a comfortable enough income to where certain things like that, they're not free, obviously.
Right.
But
they're not impactful.
You could do it every single day and it almost changes nothing out of your balance, right?
Yeah. In our day, we call that nickel and diming yourself to death.
Mm-hmm.
But usually,
yeah, but that was back when a nickel was worth a lot more than it is now. But yeah,
it's the invisible loss.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't a big deal, and it doesn't register as a big deal. But then, 10 days after your paycheck, you're like,
Mhm.
wow, I really have no money.
Yeah,
And you
that-
forget all the nickel diming crap. That
right,
you've done.
and that's what I mean. Like you get to a point to where like it. I'm not saying it's free, because it's
Right.
obviously not free, and it can like add up, especially when you do it over a year or whatever. But you're also not at that place where you're like, after a paycheck, I'm like broke. Where did all my money go? That's not what I mean. I mean, like,
If Elon Musk gives $1,000 to a charity, he doesn't notice, right?
yeah, he could do it every day, and he almost would have done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, there is a point, where that evens out, to where you can do stuff like that, and you just
See, I
almost
can do that with pennies.
don't notice. There you go.
That's where I am. I could drop a penny every day and it wouldn't impact me whatsoever.
Well, it wouldn't impact most people. Oh man, good talk, good times.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, do the things,
Ring the bell
comment,
thing.
ring the bells. I don't even know if that bell's still there anymore.
It's still there.
Okay, all right, ring the bell.
Yeah. You click on the bell, then ding ding.
Say ding ding to yourself.
Ding ding to yourself.
Oh, wait.
Oh, ding ding gave him an idea.
Right. Okay.
I saw a light bulb.
Okay, so I saw this, and I wanted to do it on the podcast, and I wanted to do it with you, and you'll understand
That
why.
sounds really weird.
It's okay.
We don't have a couch.
They should have seen our potential setup. Oh man, fuck your generation, the casting couch. This is what we're gonna change our name to.
Now recruiting.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to just work with me here, okay? Because I need you to play this out perfectly for this to work, all right? And you'll understand why the light bulb went off in my head when you said what you said. So
Okay.
I need you to look at the camera, tilt your head to the left, a little bit more. All right, put both fingers on your cheeks.
I have a lot of fingers.
Yeah, so take your 2 pointer fingers, tilt your head to the left. On each.
You're bad.
I saw somebody do that to his Asian friend on a TikTok, and I was like, oh, I have to get Mike to do this.
You're bad. It felt wrong as soon as I did it. I was like, oh, I gotta take the hands off.
And now you know why Ding Dong struck the light bulb in my head.
Oh,
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, that's enough.
That's enough. We're
We're
out
gonna
of
get
here.
canceled.
Peace be to the journey.
Bye, guys.